My wife said she needed more girl time and started spending every weekend at her best friend's house. I even bought her a spa voucher to say thanks. One night, I called that friend to ask if she was safe, and she said, "What? I haven't seen her in weeks." My heart dropped. I tracked her phone to a lake cabin her coworker owned. When I got there, I didn't knock. I opened the door and tossed her wedding ring onto their bed. "Keep it," I said. "She left it behind a long time ago." I'm a 41-year-old guy living in Belgrade, Montana, just outside of Bozeman. Small town, quiet people. Nothing flashy out here. My wife, Cora, and I had been married 9 years. No kids. We both worked full-time, me in construction, her as a nurse at the hospital in Bozeman. We had what I thought was a stable marriage. Not perfect, but nothing I'd ever call broken. That changed fast. Around mid-September, Cora started saying she needed more time with her friends. Girl time, she called it. She said work was burning her out. Said she needed the weekends to reset and relax. At first, it was every other weekend. Then every weekend. She said she was staying at her best friend Amy's house. Wine, TV, girl talk. I didn't question it. I'd never been the jealous type. I wanted her to be happy. I figured she deserved a break. I even bought her a voucher for a fancy spa she liked, the Stillwater Retreat. It wasn't cheap, but I thought it would be a nice surprise. She cried when I gave it to her. Told me I was the best husband in the world. What a joke that turned out to be. Things felt off after a few weeks. She stopped being affectionate. Stopped texting me during the day. Always had her phone turned upside down. When I'd ask about her weekends, her answers were short. We just hung out. Watched movies. Had some wine. I chalked it up to stress. I thought maybe she was slipping into a rough patch. We'd all been through some hard times. I never once thought she was lying. That's on me. Then came the night everything cracked wide open. It was October 21st, a Friday. She left around 6:30 like usual, bag over her shoulder, kissed me on the cheek, said she'd be back Sunday morning. I was at home fixing one of the stairs that had been creaking. Around 10 p.m., I got a weird gut feeling. I don't know what triggered it. Just something in my chest telling me something was wrong. I texted her, "Everything okay?" She replied a few minutes later, "Yep, just relaxing, clinking glasses. It didn't sit right with me. I don't know why. Maybe it was the champagne emoji. I couldn't remember her ever using emojis like that. It felt fake. So I called Amy. It rang 3 times before she answered, voice groggy like I woke her up. "Hey, sorry," I said. "Is Cora okay? Just wanted to check in." There was a long pause. "Cora? She's not here." "What do you mean?" I asked, already feeling my chest tighten. "I haven't seen her in weeks," Amy said. She said she was working extra shifts. That moment, I can't describe it. My legs just gave out. I sat on the stairs, staring at the floor. My ears were ringing. I thanked Amy and hung up. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there for a long time. Something inside me went cold, like a switch flipped. I opened the Find My iPhone app. I'd set it up on her phone years ago when she kept misplacing it. She never turned it off. There she was. Her phone's location showed a cabin near Hebgen Lake, about 2 hours out. I zoomed in on the map. I knew the place. It belonged to Brett, a coworker of hers. Some ER nurse she always talked about. She once said he reminded her of her older brother, friendly, loud, annoying. She said he was harmless. Yeah, harmless. His name always rubbed me the wrong way, but I kept it to myself. Every time I dropped in at her work, he'd be there, too friendly, too casual. Calling her hon, standing too close. I hated the guy. She always rolled her eyes and said I was reading into it. I wasn't. I didn't pack anything. I just grabbed my coat and her wedding ring off the dresser. She always left it behind on girls' weekends. Said it got in the way of spa masks. I slipped it into my jacket pocket and got in my truck. The drive was silent. My head wasn't. All I kept thinking was, how long? How many weekends? How many lies? When I pulled up, both their cars were there. Hers parked neatly, his half crooked. The porch light was on. There were 2 empty wine glasses on the railing. I heard music from inside. Soft jazz. I walked up to the door and opened it without knocking. No one had locked it. I stepped inside. The place smelled like wood and cheap perfume. I could hear her laugh. It came from the back room. I walked down the hall, past the kitchen, past a coat hanging that wasn't hers. The bedroom door was cracked. I pushed it open. They were in bed. Her bare back was facing me. His arm was around her waist. A candle flickered on the dresser. Her phone sat on the nightstand, still open on the Find My iPhone screen. She turned when she heard the door open. Her eyes met mine. I didn't say much. I pulled her wedding ring from my pocket and tossed it onto the bed. It bounced once and landed between them. "Keep it," I said. "She left it behind a long time ago." Then I turned and walked out. But that wasn't the end. Not even close. I didn't go home right away. I drove to a cheap motel off the highway near West Yellowstone. I didn't even bother to check the sheets or the smell in the room. I just needed to sit somewhere that wasn't filled with lies. I turned off my phone. Didn't want her calls, her excuses. I knew they'd come. I sat on the edge of the bed and stared at the floor for hours. By morning, I had 22 missed calls, 6 voicemails, a bunch of texts, most from Cora, 2 from her sister, 1 from Brett. "Let's talk like men," it said. I deleted it without opening it. I didn't respond to anyone. Not yet. I needed to think. Process. I didn't want to be that guy who exploded and made everything worse. I needed a plan. I went back home late Sunday night. The house was dark. Her car was gone. I guess she figured I didn't want to see her. She was right. But she'd been there. Some of her clothes were missing. Her laptop was gone. She left her toothbrush. Her favorite hoodie was still on the hook by the door. Part of her was still there, even though she'd thrown everything away. I sat on the couch and made a list, just like I did for work jobs. Talk to a lawyer. Get tested. Lock her out of the accounts. Tell my parents. Take back my life. That week, I did all of it. The lawyer was blunt. I had proof, text records, her phone location, a witness in Amy. Montana's a no-fault divorce state, but it didn't matter. I didn't want to fight for the house or beg her to stay. I just wanted out. I got tested. Clean. Thank God. I called the bank, changed all the logins, moved my paycheck into a new solo account, froze the joint credit card. She hadn't spent much, but she was starting to use it at nicer places, hotel charges, fancy dinners. When I told my parents, my mom cried. My dad didn't say much, just poured me a drink and sat beside me. 2 weeks passed. Then came the real twist. I was walking out of the hardware store when I saw someone leaning against my truck. It was Brett. He had the nerve to show up, wearing scrubs under a jacket, like that would make me feel anything but disgust. "You got a minute?" he asked. "No, come on, man. You slept with my wife. What else is there to say?" He looked down at the ground, then back at me. "She told me you two were basically done. She said you hadn't touched each other in over a year. That you were just staying together for money." I didn't know she was lying. "You believe that now?" He didn't answer. "She ever tell you I bought her a spa day while she was sneaking off to your cabin? That I trusted her so much I never even checked until she slipped up?" Still, no answer. I stepped closer. "Let me tell you something, Brett. I'm not going to hit you. I'm not going to slash your tires. But if I ever see you near me again, we're going to have a real problem. Understand?" He nodded once, then walked off. A week later, Cora texted me. "Cora, can we talk? Just one conversation." Me. "Why?" "You already said everything that mattered when you took off your ring." She sent a wall of text after that. Apologies. Regret. Said she didn't know what she was doing. That it wasn't about Brett. It was about feeling lost and unseen. I didn't respond. But something else was coming. A real twist I hadn't expected. Amy texted me out of the blue. "Amy, can I call you? It's about Cora." I said yes. When she called, her voice was shaky. "I think you should know, Cora didn't just lie to you," she said. "She's been talking to someone else too. A doctor from Billings. I saw his messages pop up when she was visiting last month." "You're sure?" "Positive. His name's Aaron. She told me she met him at a conference." So Brett wasn't the only one. And now, I knew she didn't just cheat, she built a whole second life. The doctor from Billings, Aaron, was the match that lit the second fire. After Amy's call, I sat in my truck and stared at the dash. Cora hadn't just lied to me. She lied to Brett too. And maybe to Aaron. This wasn't just a bad decision or one drunken mistake at a cabin. She was living a lie full time. Multiple men, multiple stories, spinning plates while coming home to kiss me on the cheek like nothing was wrong. I knew I should walk away, cut her out clean, and never look back. But I couldn't. Not yet. I still needed answers. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I messaged Aaron. I found him on Facebook. He had a public profile, like a lot of doctors trying to build a professional brand. Wife. 2 kids. Weekend hiking trips. I sent him a message. Me. "Hey. I think we need to talk. It's about Cora. He replied 5 hours later. Aaron, sorry, Cora who? I sent him a photo. Him and Cora, arms around each other at some medical conference. The photo was public. She commented under it with a heart emoji. This time he replied in 2 minutes. Aaron, holy sh*t. She told me she was divorced. Of course she did. He called me that night. Told me everything. Said they met in June at a regional trauma conference. She told him she was going through a rough divorce. Said I was controlling, cold, and bitter. Told him we hadn't lived together in a year. She even showed him a fake lease from an apartment in Bozeman. Probably made it up on her hospital printer. She's been coming down here every other week, Aaron said. Stayed at a hotel near the clinic. We even talked about moving in together next year. I told him the truth. All of it. About Brett. About the cabin. About how she'd still been sleeping in my house 2 weeks ago. Aaron was quiet for a long time. Jesus, he said finally. She's sick. He asked me for copies of messages, photos, anything I had. Said he might need it for legal reasons. I sent them. He thanked me. Then he said something I didn't expect. She said you hit her once. Swore it happened. That hit me like a truck. I never touched her. I believe you, he said. I do now. So I started keeping records. Everything. Screenshots. Bank transactions. Even the spa voucher I bought her. Just in case she tried to paint me as something I wasn't. 2 days later, I got a call from HR at her hospital. They asked me if I'd be willing to speak with someone about Cora's behavior. Apparently, Aaron had reported her. They were doing a quiet internal review. Not about the cheating, but about the lies. Using work computers to forge documents. Using sick days to visit boyfriends. It was piling up. Then the final twist hit. She came to my house. It was a Thursday night. I had just gotten home from work. The porch light was still off. She knocked. I opened the door, and there she was. No makeup. No smile. Just a tired, desperate look in her eyes. I messed up, she said. Yeah, I said. You did. I'm not asking for anything. I just need you to know. I never meant to hurt you. You didn't just hurt me. You humiliated me. You lied to everyone. You cheated on multiple men. You stole time I'll never get back. I didn't know what I wanted, she whispered. You wanted attention. And you didn't care who you stepped on to get it. She started crying. I'm going to lose my job, she said. I stepped outside and closed the door behind me. That's not my problem anymore. She looked up at me, mascara running from the tears. I don't know where to go. You had 2 cabins, a hotel in Billings, and 3 men. You'll figure it out. Then I walked back inside and locked the door. But I wasn't done. I had one more move to make. Cora left that night without saying another word. I watched her through the peephole as she sat in her car for a while, then drove off. A part of me still hurt. Not because I wanted her back, but because I gave her everything. I was loyal, I worked hard, and I trusted her. She didn't just break a promise. She destroyed the man I used to be. And I wanted her to feel that. I waited until her job finished the investigation. A friend of mine worked maintenance at the hospital and kept me updated. They were going to let her go quietly to avoid drama. No big announcement, no record on her license. Just a clean resignation. That wasn't enough for me. I gathered everything I had. Texts, messages, timelines, even the fake lease she gave Aaron. I put it all in a PDF with a short note at the top. This is the real Cora. This is what she's done. And this is who she hurt. I sent it to every contact in her department. I didn't care if it was petty. They needed to know. No more lies. No more masks. Her resignation turned into a forced termination. Aaron's wife found out too. He didn't tell me directly, but I saw it on his Facebook a week later, separated. Taking time for myself. His wife posted a long, vague message about betrayal and trust. I didn't feel good about it, but I didn't feel bad either. Brett? He got transferred to another hospital. I heard he requested it himself. Maybe he was embarrassed. Maybe he couldn't stand the whispers. Either way, he was gone. And me? I sold the house. Too many ghosts in the walls. I moved into a small place on the edge of town, near the woods. Quiet. I stopped looking at my wedding photos. Stopped checking my phone at night. I started sleeping again. One day, months later, I ran into Cora at the grocery store. She looked different. Thinner. Pale. Her hair pulled back in a messy bun. No smile. She walked past me like I wasn't there. No apology this time. No words. That was better. I didn't need her to say sorry anymore. I'd already taken everything back. My money, my peace, my self-respect. And she? She had nothing left but the ring I threw on that bed. The one thing she never earned. The one thing she never should have worn. She kept it. Let it remind her every day of what she lost. Forever. You said. Next February 2nd, ChatGPT said. Title: My wife said she needed girl time on weekends. Part 2. The fallout after everything went down. After I exposed Cora to her hospital, ruined her career, and watched her three-faced life collapse like wet cardboard, you'd think the story would end there. But it didn't. Because people like Cora don't crawl into the shadows quietly. They twist. They cling. They try to drag you back down with them. It started 3 weeks after I sent out that email bomb. A plain white envelope showed up in my new mailbox. No return address. Just my name in sloppy handwriting. Inside? A typed letter. No signature. No heading. Just one line. Be careful who you burn. Some fires burn back. I stared at it for a long time. I knew it was her. That wasn't even a question. I didn't call the cops. I didn't tell anyone. But I did what I always do. I documented it. Took a photo. Logged the day. Filed it away. And I changed my locks. That weekend, I drove to see my brother down in Billings. We hadn't talked much during the fallout. He was always wary of Cora. Called her too perfect. I should have listened. We sat on his porch drinking beer, and I told him everything. The cheating. The hospital. The doctor. The note. He listened quietly. Then he asked something I hadn't expected. What if she's pregnant? I almost laughed, but then I stopped. What if she was? I hadn't touched her in months before it all went down. But Aaron had. Brett had. God knows who else. And if she was pregnant, she might try to tie that kid to me. Suddenly, I was back in that cold motel room. The rage. The pain. The deep, shaking panic. I had to know. So I checked the court records the next day. No paternity suits. No claims. Nothing. Then I called Amy again. I didn't want to, but I had to know what Cora was up to. Amy answered. Her tone was stiff. She's staying with her mom in Missoula, she said. She's a mess. No job. No car. Her credit's wrecked. Brett cut her off. Aaron blocked her. I haven't talked to her in weeks. I asked the question. Is she pregnant? Amy hesitated. No. She had a scare. But no. I hung up and sat on my porch in silence. My hands were shaking. I didn't owe Cora anything. But I still felt the echo of her in my bones, like a bad tattoo you regret the day after. I wanted her completely gone. No more games. No more threats. No more shadows. So I made one final move. I filed a no-contact order. I included the letter. The cheating. The lies. I documented everything. The judge approved it. Cora couldn't come near me again. Not without risking jail. And that, finally, was the end. Or so I thought. But then the hospital called me again. Someone had applied for a job under Cora's name, but the credentials didn't match. She was trying to use a fake nursing license. They were investigating for fraud. And this time, they wanted me to testify.